Good morning, folks. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the scones. I always like a quick scone. This breakout session is being presented by Joan Figuerola, who's co-founder and CTO of SpecifiedBy. And I was asking him earlier what he's going to be talking about, and I find this intriguing. Seeing cloud computing as a new form of electricity. So, Joan, over to you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this breakout session. As Mark said, I'm the co-founder and CTO, tech lead, as well as many other roles in a startup. And today, I'm going to be talking about building fast and cost-effectively in the cloud with a platform as a service. I'm going to break the presentation in two areas. The first one is some of the challenges that we face at the SpecifiedBy in terms of cloud, and the second part is going to be about how Causeway Technologies has made the transition from desktop to cloud. SpecifiedBy is now a larger group, so there is these two distinctions here. So first of all, I'm going to be quickly introducing what SpecifiedBy is. It's an online marketplace that connects architects with building product manufacturers. So a very simple way to explain it is it's Amazon, but just for building products. So around 10 years ago, we had to decide what cloud provider we wanted to use for product and services. And it was obvious to me that cloud computing is becoming a commodity. So just like electricity. So today, we don't really interact with the electricity grid. We plug our appliances, and we use them. And then we pay the energy provider to look after the grid for us. And we can get as much or as little as we want for it. So the same idea is with this cloud computing. We build our apps, we plug them to the cloud grid, and then the cloud providers will look after it for us. Then with these apps, we give them to the customers, and they can just use and do whatever they need to do with it. And hopefully they pay us for that. So I believe that tech teams should think of themselves as craftsmen, like these people. They plug their tools to the electricity grid, and they build their apps, and then they give it to the customers to use it. And the most important thing for the tech teams is the apps, not the cloud. Let the cloud provider deal with that for you. There is serverless. There is this computing trend called serverless that starts to embrace this way of thinking. So there is this famous Amazon service called Lambda function in which you can start abstracting away computing units. And there is another interesting one with Amazon that they releases their database service called Aurora, in which is also serverless. So you can put whatever you want there, and they deal with all the infrastructure for you. But what if you can go a step further here? What if your entire infrastructure is serverless? And here is where the platforms as a service kick in. So these are some of the vendors out there at the moment. We currently use 4Rabbit because our web app is in PHP, but there are other vendors like Platformisation. I think the most famous one is Figuerola. So 4Rabbit essentially sits on top of Amazon, and they add an abstraction layer on top of Amazon Web Services. So what are the benefits of using a platform as a service for us? So the most obvious one is it just provides an off-the-shelf web stack. So a web server like Apache, a language like PHP, database, MySQL, caching, object storage, and all of that is optimized for performance for you. What this also means is that you don't have to do any DevOps, and any server wrangling. So I was just saying, now SpecifiedBy is part of Causeway, and there was this security vulnerability recently called Log4j, and all the teams within Causeway, they have to stop everything they were doing to patch the security vulnerability. For us, this was all dealt with by 4Rabbit guys. So it was business as usual. Another benefit is it comes with built-in development workflows like continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines, and then you can customize this as much as you want. You can add your tests, your builds, the way you want. Another benefit for us, it comes with a worker infrastructure. So if you need to do offline processing, like sending a newsletter or data processing for a machine learning job, the infrastructure to do that is already built in for you. It also comes with monitoring and logging, with nice fancy dashboards and email alerts to spam your inbox. And it also provides all the scalability for that. It's handled for you. So you don't need to set up load balancers or anything like that. Now, being a startup, price is very important. So over the last 10 years, we've saved over £750,000 on infrastructure and developer operations. For large companies, that might not mean a lot, but for a startup, that was the difference of us shutting down a company or keeping things up and running. And in 2014, we were just one month away from running out of money. So operational innovations like these, as well as many other ones, has allowed us to keep things running very efficiently. The other benefit that I found is a very nice thing from the customer service point of view is that even as of today, the founders of 4Rabbit are still replying to the email threads, which are the founders are very smart DevOps guys. And I recall the longest email thread that I've ever had with them, just 5 emails. So solving problems in just 5 emails, I found that quite mind-blowing. But obviously, it comes with drawbacks. The main drawback is there is limited customization. So for example, we're currently moving our entire front end to React, and we need to do server-side rendering. We identified that Next.js allows you to do server-side rendering, but you need to know a Node.js runtime environment. So we went to the 4Rabbit guys and say, hey, can you install us a Node.js runtime environment? And they said, no, we cannot just do that. So you're pushed to find workarounds with that. So we eventually find a workaround, which is we do the server-side rendering with PHP and Blade, and then once the page is rendered, we use React kicks in. And for all the pages that we don't need server-side rendering for SEO, we just use React straight away. The other drawback is that you're pushed to migrate to newest technologies. So we recently had to migrate from MySQL 5.7 to MySQL 8. I don't know why they jumped from 5 to 8, but yeah, it's just the way it works. So we got an email from 4Rabbit saying, hey guys, we're migrating to MySQL 8. You have to make sure that your app is compatible with it, and you have 1 year to do that. So yeah, you're pushed to do that, which for me, it makes things easier because there is no room for to say no to this. So if I go to Darren, who's a co-founder, and says, hey, Darren, we need to do this, he just cannot say no to this because it's either that or they shut down the application. So you decide whether that's a benefit or a drawback. Now, these limitations, sorry, I'll go back to that in a bit. So what does it actually mean from a business perspective? So for me, personally, it's peace of mind. I know there is smart people who's a lot smarter than me doing all the infrastructure stuff for us, which this has saved us a ton of time over the last 10 years, which has allowed us to work closer with the customers by spending more time, essentially, on the apps. The other benefit is you could say that you can spend more time on user experience. What is user experience? This is a bit of a joker card because quick server response times is a good user experiences, but high prices is a bad user experience. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you can spend more time on your products and on your customers, which is what matters ultimately. One of the drawbacks, so one of the approach that we've taken to overcome some of the drawbacks is we currently use a hybrid architecture. So we use 4Rabbit for mission-critical application with the web app, and we use our own managed AWS for a bunch of microservices that are not mission-critical. So for me, the distinction of mission-critical and non-mission-critical is mission-critical if something goes wrong, I get a ton of emails, but then within minutes I have the rest of the team on my back. And non-mission critical means that I still get a ton of emails, but the rest of the team will take a few more hours to realize that something went wrong. So yeah, the approach is whatever you do, try to go to the platform as a service first, and if it doesn't work, just the fallback is to do your own managed AWS, Google Cloud Compute, or Azure, or your own on-premises stuff. So now I'm going to switch gears a bit. I'm going to be talking about Causeway, which is the second part of the presentation. So SpecifiedBy, as I said, has been acquired by Causeway Technologies, which provides an end-to-end solution for the construction supply chain. So they have a bunch of 20 products for each of the stages in the construction supply chain. And SpecifiedBy sits at the pre-construction stage. So some of the challenges that Causeway Technologies has faced over the last 20 odd years is that they come from developing applications in native to desktop. So they've been building 20 years of building silo apps that all the tech stack is contained within every product. And this is for 20 products. So there is a lot of data duplication, service duplication, and there is a lot of redundancy that over the last 20 years has been built there. Now the company has successfully shifted from desktop to cloud, but these monoliths are still present in the cloud. Another issue that they had is like the use of on-premise computing resources. And then given the nature of native desktop application, that means the product development, they had a very long release cycles. So let's say they were not working in a non-agile manner. So it's quite a challenging thing. And as an engineer, the best way you can do it is just to burn it all down and start from scratch. But from a business perspective, this is non-viable. So how do you solve these challenges as well as make the business grow and keep all the services up and running? So one potential solution is, once you're already on the cloud, is the process of platformization. So, but before getting into what the software platform is, I want to just explain what the platform is in general. So I'm not sure if you guys recognize this building. This is Codebase. What Codebase does, they offer office space to startups, but on top of that, they offer a bunch of services for them, which is security at the front door, electricity, internet, an office room, kitchen area, post office, toilet, etc. So what this means is that the business can just focus on their business, and Codebase handles all these services on the site, and you pay Codebase for those services. So the idea of the software platform is similar. The usual starting point is a bunch of software monoliths. These are a bunch of products that all the tech stack is contained within those apps, and there is no sharing of the common services. Okay, so how do you move from this software monolith to? So the idea of a software platform is to underpin the common services that could be authentication, networking layer, the API gateway that allows you for apps to talk to each other, as well as underpin technical services like logging, monitoring, queues, and workers. So what you essentially do is abstracting away what's exact same thing across all these apps and make this part of a platform. So then you can divide your team within the platform team and then your product team. So the platform team deals with all these shared services, and then the app team works on each of the individual products. I discussed this with the Causeway CTO about this, and he made a very good point, which is that you can go a step further here. You can start building business services on top of that. So a common use case amongst all these apps is that they all have access to the same customer information. So once you have this platform and all these services, what you can start doing is create a service, which is the business service. So all these apps, whenever they have to access customer information, they just go directly to this service, which has all the customer information. But another thing that I think it ultimately what matters here is this product integration. So what the platform provides, it's a communication layer for products. So API gateway allows you for products to talk to each other. You can also have a message bus like Amazon SQS to do that, but I think APIs, everyone understands what an API is. The other benefit is like you can have a component system at the front end that provides a unified UI, which means that all the products look and feel the same across the whole platform. Another benefit of the platform is it provides a single sign-on with the same credentials you can access to multiple products. But what I think if when talking about an end-to-end solution, what the platforms allows is to build product integrations, to bridge products. So for example, at the SpecifiedBy, once an architect has identified the products they want for their projects, the next stage is to create a specification document. So once you have these shortlisted products, it makes sense to recommend the customer to use your specification writing tool. And the next step of that is the process of tendering, is finding people to actually carry out the work. And Causeway has a product for that. So after you have the specification document, you can recommend the tendering solution to the customer. And this can all be built within the platform. So that's a bit what I wanted to share with you guys. And my two main takeaways here is that that I want to make clear is that spending time wrangling with servers, it's just not good for business, particularly if you are a small company. And the second, if you're a much larger company, it makes sense to avoid as much redundancy as you can by abstracting away as much as you can. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Right at the front, yeah. Pete, can we get a mic, please? Right to the front, more or less. That gentleman there.
Hi. So two quick questions. One is, you spoke about cost savings, 750K. Did you compare the PaaS option from a cost perspective with the spinning up a Kubernetes cluster and you doing everything around that? And if so, what was the financials is probably part one. But part two is, PaaS sounds like a great starting point. I think it's a known industry secret at this point. At what point do you go from that to the next part, which is an IaaS solution? Would love to hear your opinion on both of those.
Very, very good questions. The first question, how do we know we saved this? The first one is mainly hiring people. If we hadn't done that, we would have needed a DevOps on our team, at least one or two. So just on that side, it's already, in salaries, we already saved a ton of money there. The second one, I tried to replicate the infrastructure that 4Rabbit is using by using Amazon directly, and it was 4 times more expensive. So I have no clue how 4Rabbit is doing it, but doing the same thing they were doing for us, it was more expensive. So that's how I come up with the figures. My intuition is that the fact that 4Rabbit does this across a lot of products, there is some efficiencies there that allows us to drop the prices down. So that's the thing where the savings are of starting with the platform as a service. The second question was about at what point you transition from another one. So the drawbacks are clear. There is limited customization you can do there. For us, whenever 4Rabbit cannot give what we need, we will leave. That will dictate with the growth of the company. It's mainly traffic. So at what point do we need to get to manage our own infrastructure? To be honest with you, I don't know. We're not there yet. What I do know is this solution that we have now, it works for us, and we've been doing it for the last 10 years. I don't see any time soon for us to move away from this. But yeah, the reason for us to move is 4Rabbit is just, it doesn't provide enough scalability for us. So yeah. Have I answered you?
That's helpful. Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other question? See, when you talked about you run it through your system, the products look and feel the same. How do you do that? Because, I mean, are you actually changing the language for the different products so that they're all speaking a common language, or are you just sticking a storefront on the front of it, a bit like a spaghetti western or something? How does it work?
So most web applications have a front end and a back end, right? And in the front end, you can create libraries of components that look the same. So, and then this library can be shared across all the products. So you can design a button, you can design a window, and they all look you make this library, and then you share this library called all the products, so they all look and kind of feel the same way. Yeah.
So it's almost an adapter. Fine. Okay.
Yeah, so abstracting.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One last chance. Any other questions? Okay. Can I ask you to thank Joan one more time then, please? Thank you.